Hi, I'm Andrew Wasson. Thanks for tuning in to my weekly guitar blog. It is January 2nd, 2012. Happy New Year, everybody. Now, this time around, we're going to go to a question that was sent in from Simon, all the way from Boulder, Colorado. He wrote in saying, I'm stuck on a music theory problem where a scale, or I guess really a key, technically does not exist in the standard collection of musical keys. For the purpose of my question here, I'll propose the key of G sharp major. If I were to do any kind of music theory off of the root of G sharp, what would be the method I would use to create a major scale off of G sharp? And could you also explain how this process might apply to other keys as well, such as F flat major? Thank you, from Simon in Boulder, Colorado, USA. Well, thanks for writing in, Simon. Keys that technically are not part of the standard set of musical keys are often simply referred to as synthetic, or sometimes they're called non-standard keys or scales. Now, it's important to state that the terms synthetic or non-standard really will just refer to when, for example, the new scale was derived from a traditional diatonic major scale through the alteration of one or more degrees by a semitone in either direction. Or in the case of an entire key, we would be altering the entire key in one direction by a semitone, either through sharps or flats. Now, in order to help you to fully understand this concept, let's begin by taking a quick look at how this synthetic key theory can be applied using the keys that were mentioned in Simon's email.
To begin our discussion, we're going to choose the key of G major, starting with, of course, here you can see the G major scale. And we're going to take this scale and this key structure, and we're going to move it into something more non-standard. In other words, we're going to make a shift with all the pitches up a half a step, and we're going to create that key that Simon was asking about, which is G sharp major. So let's just first of all take quick note of what the notes are in the key of G major, in the G major scale. They're all natural tones from G to G, and of course we do have one accidental in this key. It's an F sharp. So without wasting any time, let's move on quickly next to the conversion of this standard key into a non-standard key of G sharp major. So here we have the key of G sharp major. You can see here's the G sharp major scale. All of the tones in this scale are sharp, and the only thing different is we have a double sharp. It kind of looks like a X, basically, if you're unfamiliar with the double sharp symbol. But essentially, this is our new key. Now, of course, we would not normally use this if we were songwriting or running through a key center that was in a typical tune. G sharp, of course, is the exact same thing as A flat major, so we would use that. But like Simon had mentioned in his email, you can get confused sometimes when you're trying to do theoretical assignments with scales and keys, because sometimes you need to work off of a note that technically doesn't exist in your traditional set of technical keys. And before we wrap the topic up, I would like to still jump over to the other example that Simon mentioned in his email, which was the creation of the key of F flat major. So let's jump to that idea next. Now, in creating the F flat major scale, we're going to come at it in the exact same manner which we used to do the G sharp major scale. We're going to begin with the same tonal name with traditional scale that technically does exist in our key signature, which is F major scale, which has one flat, a B flat. All the other tones are natural, but F major scale does contain a B flat note. Now, what we're of course going to do is exactly like we had done with the G to G sharp example. We're going to, instead of raising, however, though, we're going to drop the key down by way of a half step. And I could bet that by now, those watching this will probably get a good idea of what's going to happen to the B flat. But let's move to that F flat major scale layout right now. So now we've moved everything down by way of a half a step, and we've created our new key of F flat major. You can see here we have our F flat major scale, starting on F flat, going to F flat. Everything in the key is now an accidental of a flat, except for the B, which is a double flat. And it's the exact same principle and approach that we had seen occur with the G major becoming G sharp major, except now we're just basically going in the other direction, and we're creating a key that is, of course, synthetic, or doesn't normally exists in our standard collection of key signatures, but it can be there now for us if we wanted to do a little bit of theory, if we had a chord we needed to construct, intervals we needed to design off of F flat. We can now do it with this particular scale. So if you've never worked on your theory to the level of doing more intricate work with intervals or with more detailed work on chord construction, this may seem a little bit odd, especially from the perspective, I know it was for me when I first started working with this approach. It was a little bit odd to think, okay, well, what do I exactly need these fake keys for anyway? And of course, once you get into the theory of applying intervals and doing chord construction, it clicks pretty fast of why this can be very useful.
Now, early on in most of our musical training, we tend to learn that there are 12 possible keys that any particular song can be played in, and that key signatures not only provide us with what key a piece of music is written in, they also tell us which sharps or flats will appear within a song or within any particular music theory concept that we happen to be working on, such as things like designing intervals, chord construction, and even reharmonization work, just to name a few. Now, this principle of non-standard and synthetic key theory is quite important for all of that work, so I'd really advise that you get your head wrapped around it and know exactly how to use it. Anyway, once again, that's about all the time I have for today. So as always, I hope these explanations help you. Thanks for watching. Have yourself a great week. Happy New Year, and I'll catch up with you next time. Bye for now.